Yeah.
All right, everybody, this is a special edition, Flying High with the Birds, Philadelphia Eagles Talk podcast. Right after the draft, I am the Godfather. With me, the podcast chaplain, Jimmy. What's up, Jimmy?
What's up, guys? Good time to be a Philly sports fan right now.
Absolutely everything. Will seal the deal. He didn't seal the deal last year, Vahe, but hopefully he will this year. Seal the deal, silly. What's up, William?
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
And finally, if this draft don't work out, you will hear quite a bit from the Armenian.
Hi, guys.
What's that?
Excited, man. Can't wait for the season to start.
Vahe, I
skip-
wanted Bijan so bad.
Let's skip this whole off season. Let's go to the start,
Yeah.
September.
Training camp's going to be incredible. I can honestly see us having a few pods during training camp because the defense looks like hopefully it's more shored up now, but so much has happened in the last couple of weeks. I mean, when we thought we had plenty with the Hurts contract, that paled in comparison to what happened last weekend with the draft. God, I don't even know where to start yet. Let's start out with the draft. Everybody actually knows who signed as a free agent and all that. So we're just going to move on from there. So what I'm going to do is let's break it down piece by piece on this football team with all the drafts. In the first round, they drafted Jalen Carter with pick number 9 and Nolan Smith with pick number 30 in the first round. They didn't have any picks in the second round. They slipped to the third. And in the third round, they took the offensive lineman Tyler Steen from Alabama and a safety who's going to be a Philly favorite in this town, Sidney Brown. I've watched him a number of times at Illinois. And what else do we got here? And then in the fourth round, they picked Keely Ringo out of Georgia also. So 3 Georgia guys were picked. Listen, let's run around the horn here. Tell me what you guys thought of the draft.
I thought it could. I wanted Bijan so bad. I was 100% on board with Vahe. I thought Bijan would make this team unbelievable. But everything just fell right into our laps. Can't complain with anything.
Howie did it again.
He somehow cheated the system. Everything fell our way.
And then he went out and got a running back.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is that my daughter was asking this question. She says, well, Dad, everybody's saying that, Howie did so and so great and everything else. And she goes, how come nobody else is doing it? And I said, well, the thing is that he's taking calculated risks, with Jalen Carter, right? Obviously, Chicago could have picked him, but for whatever reason, they didn't want to take that risk because there's a downside to the situation too. Same thing with Nolan Smith, right? So even though on paper it looks really, really good and everybody's happy with it, including myself, right? But the thing is that obviously there was risk that he was willing to take versus other teams they weren't willing to take. For example, Jalen Carter, right? Obviously, he has off the field issues, even though he is amazing good talent. But the thing is that is he going to come in and he's going to become a different person, or is going to continue with the shenanigans that he had, when he was in Georgia, right? So there's a price to pay for that. Howie thinks that the environment that they have at the Eagles, with the leadership they have, they can get him, to shape up and focus on football. And the sky could be the limit. But it wasn't like basically he discovered something that nobody else knew. He was willing to take a chance that other people didn't want to take a chance.
Yeah, I agree 100%. He basically has to work out because before the draft, they were very thin in the interior defensive line. So they're really banking on him to really start out good. But the 2 big strikes on him, as you were saying, was the off the field stuff, his character issues, and the other thing was he came in the combine totally out of shape. So hopefully he had that car accident that he was in on his mind, and hopefully that was the reason. But all you got to do is put on the tape and watch this guy. This guy he moves people. So
Yeah.
against the run, he's going to be great, and with the pass, he's going to be unbelievable too. But I'll tell you.
They say his work ethic. They say his work ethic isn't the best, and if he actually put the time in to study film and work out, like he could be even that much better.
Yeah.
Hopefully this was a wake up call for him.
Yeah, and the fact that he's got other Alabama players around him, I think might be real good. And they're all going to be starting, I think, at one point or another. But
He seemed really happy he got drafted. I mean, it looked like he was, got emotional, and he said he's ready to put in the work. So hopefully he means it.
They all say that though, Jim, but
but
hopefully
hopefully he means it.
But like Vahe said, like you gotta take these risks, because I mean, if you look back at the Eagles' first round draft picks over the last 10 years, there might be one guy that reached a second contract. So you gotta take these risks and see if you can, hit big on them. And Jalen Carter could possibly be the best player in this draft. So him falling to you, you have to take that risk.
I agree 100%. But when I look at Jalen Carter, I always say to myself, please don't turn into an Albert Hainsworth. He had so much talent, same build, same type of player, and he just ended up playing like a dog. He didn't care. I want to move on to the second pick. I think the Eagles would have been happy picking Nolan Smith with the 10th pick in the draft, let alone the 30th. And how he slipped to 30 is absolutely beyond me. I'm looking at this guy and I'm saying, this guy could be a cross between us. They're saying he's an edge rusher, but I see him as a cross between a stack backer and an edge rusher. He definitely will contain the edge. I don't know what you guys think.
I just think he fell because he's small. Like he's not a big edge rusher that like a Brandon Graham type guy, or he kind of fits that Hassan Reddick mold, which is rare. Like there's not many guys that have the same build as Hassan Reddick and have been successful, but other than him. So I think that's kind of why you saw him slide. But the potential's there. I mean, at the combine, he
can move.
Yeah, he was off the charts and everything.
4.39.
The guy's got talent. You just gotta hope it transitions well in the NFL. Most guys it doesn't. So let's just hope he does.
Yeah, same thing for the Eagles. Basically, they have Hassan Reddick, right? So they have a proven commodity, same build, same size, and it works. So they're willing to take a chance on that versus some other teams, they're not willing to gamble.
Yeah, and I'm sure Reddick can probably help him along and say, this is what's worked for me. And you have the same type of build. He could probably do it too. I mean, he's in the right situation to learn from somebody, that's his body type and his, speed and aggressiveness.
That's a good point.
And it goes back to the same with Jalen Carter too. The fact that basically he's surrounded by his buddies from school and in a structured environment, I think that's going to help him. Because half the team on the defensive side is Georgia graduates, so that means something.
Yeah,
I love it. Just think about like 4 years ago, you got all these Georgia players playing like all the Alabama players in like the national championship team, and now we got all Alabama offense, all Georgia defense, the two best parts of those teams, all on the Eagles.
And don't forget the prep. Don't forget the prep graduates too.
we got to talk. We got to talk. We're going to talk about him next.
Can you imagine their practices when they're going?
Oh my God! Yeah, well, I know that. I know Swift just entered the complex yesterday. I think.
Yeah.
Them yesterday, but you know what I want to do? Let's just go down to position groups, because I did a little thing on the position groups, who the Eagles had, who they lost, and who they picked up. And I'm going to bounce around. I'm not going to go right down the line here. So I'm going to start. Let's start with the running back, okay? They had Miles Sanders, who they lost, who's now with the Carolina Panthers. He makes $6 million. He's got a contract where he makes $6 million a year. The rest of the guys that are on the Eagles don't add up to even make the amount of money that Sanders is making this year, which is unbelievable. They have Kenny Gainwell, who comes back, Boston Scott, who comes back, Trey Sermon, who was on the practice squad, who they really want to take a look at. They got Kennedy Brooks, who probably will be in the outside looking in. And then they picked up my favorite, Rashad Penny from Seattle for nothing, and DeAndre Swift from Detroit, the former Philadelphia native who played for St. Joe's Prep. And I watched this kid when he was 14, as young as 14 years old. I'm just going to give you my take real quick as far as running backs are concerned. I think Swift's going to make an immediate impact. I am concerned about his injury history. But I'm telling you guys right now, if Rashad Penny can play a healthy season, all 17 games, he will be a beast running behind this offensive line. I'm done talking running backs. You guys take it away.
The good thing about it is it's all going to be by committee. That's the best part about it. They're going to be changing them up a lot. I think Swift and Penny are both playing for their next contracts too,
Yeah,
right?
they are.
So that's a huge motivation right there. And Gainwell looked really good in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, I was telling Will this. Do you know that Penny is averaging, I believe the numbers 3.8 yards after first contact in the last 5 years. The next player is barely over 2 yards after first contact. That is amazing. That guy is a beast, but I know we can't. How many games did he miss?
He played 5 out of his, or no, 15 out of his last 50.
That's bad. That's not good. He didn't play a third of his games, but what do you guys think about Swift?
How can you not love it? Right?
Yeah,
I love Swift. I think he fits the offense well. He does bounce a lot of stuff outside. And I don't know how much Sirianni's going to like that, because I know he always wanted Sanders hit the hole. You got it, Swift does a lot of dancing and he likes to take everything outside. I think that's why him and Deuce, bumped heads a lot in Detroit. So, I mean, we'll see. I still think he fits the offense really well. He's an amazing pass catching back.
Yeah.
It's really going to help us out, but I mean,
First one we really had since McCoy or Sproles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I see him and Rashad Penny, I see them both as only a 1-year option, because we're not going to sign either one back to another deal. So they're going to be looking for a running back again next year. But
and I think him coming home makes a difference too, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know what the situation was in Detroit, but the thing is that sometimes it doesn't work and you're not really motivated. And now it's coming back home. This is where you went to school, this is the team that you like to play for.
Oh,
So
he was an Eagles fan as a kid. He
Yeah.
didn't
He
want to be-
supposedly wanted out of Detroit too.
Well, I mean, besides the injury history, and believe me, he's had injury issues going back to high school: groin, shoulder, knee, foot, or ankle. He had him at St. Joe's Prep, and he had him at Georgia, and he had him with Detroit also. But one of the other knocks on him was, and this is what I think the coaching staff didn't like, is that if they needed 3 yards, a lot of times he would try to hit a home run. And if he didn't hit the home run, he would get the 2 yards instead of the 3 yards that they needed. And they didn't like that. So he was always trying to get the big play. And I don't know if that's the big problem, then I don't have much of a problem with that at all.
let me know, how do you guys feel about him coming back home after that whole thing that happened with him? I think he was in North Philly. There was that shooting and he was under investigation for murder. Because
Not him. It wasn't him.
It
it wasn't him, but he was there.
They're saying that he was there, and he did get believe me, that whole story was kept under wraps. And he did have to come back from Detroit. I think it was sometime in July, and answer questions for the police department. He was totally cleared, but he was there. He was there.
Because Armin, you know my friend Terrell. He grew up in North Philly, and he said Swift is not liked very much around that area. So I feel like him coming home, he better live in Jersey or he better commute from New York or something.
Why he wasn't liked in North, why wasn't
I
he
didn't
liked?
think
I
he,
think it's something with that incident, but he's not well liked in that area.
wow. Well, I know that, I don't think he's from the Northeast, actually. So, and he originally wanted to go to LaSalle High School, but LaSalle decided at that point in time that they wanted to concentrate more on academics. And that's when there was a switch, and he decided to go to St. Joe's Prep, and he was a superstar there for 4 years. But anyway, I think it's a great thing. I just think it's a great thing, and I don't know how the Eagles pulled it off. The only other thing I want to say about Swift is that I just get the feeling that the Lions know something about him that nobody else does. And I don't know what it is, and I feel like if you were to put a revolver to my head, it's got to be injury related. I just got that feeling. I don't know.
Him and Deuce Daly did not get along at all because he's not the type of back that Deuce liked. He was always trying to bounce things outside, and I think that's why they always, started putting in other running backs.
Yeah,
But look at also at Deuce. I mean, he was in the defensive running back coach here. Then he went to Detroit. What was he there? He was a running back coach or was a defensive coordinator?
I think he was like,
He's
running back.
assistant head coach.
wasn't he
but he's
assistant
running
head
back.
coach or something too?
Assistant
Yeah,
head
he
coach
was.
was with the running backs.
and isn't he
And-
now with Carolina?
Yeah, I mean, he's just
Yeah.
bouncing around too. So obviously,
Yeah,
He wanted Frank Wright on his staff.
yeah, but he's a very good coach. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the defensive line. This one's going to be really interesting. Okay, the Eagles actually lost 3 people on their defensive line last year.
Mhm.
Javon Hargrave signed a free agent, multi-million-dollar contract with the 49ers. He's going to be missed big time. Ndamukong Suh and Lindale Joseph, who they didn't pick up until like more than halfway into the season. And they could be back depending on how the defensive line plays. Who they picked up was Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. I'm going to give you these names now. You got edge rushers in Brandon Graham, Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat. Here's one for you, Derek Barnett. And the Eagles feel like he can really contribute this year. On the interior, they got Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, Marlon Tuipulotu, and Contavious Street and Fletcher Cox. I mean, that's going to be one heck of a rotation. What do you guys think?
Loaded. It's loaded.
Yeah.
It's loaded. They're stacked.
and hopefully this new coach, Sean Desai, can make a difference. One thing that I'm really surprising that tampering, he didn't get too much traction here. I think there's more to the story.
He's a knucklehead.
Let's go.
There's
there.
more to the story and just
Yeah.
trying to push it under the rug.
I was
Yeah,
thinking the same thing, Bahi. I agree.
Yeah, but
He
let
is-
me, but let me just, Vahe, let me ask you this. When they asked,
He's a liar too, by the way.
when
Yeah, he keeps
when they
opening
asked
his
him if he knew
mouth like
anything
it's-
about it, and he said not until after the Super Bowl, what was he going to say? He almost had to lie about that, but he is a liar. And
Why
Come
didn't
on,
we
man.
know anything about it? Like, why didn't we know that this was an investigation until the day?
I think that's Howie being Howie, waiting to the last second. He's like,
I think they investigated it, and he went and told the Cardinals GM that Monty, whatever the hell his name is, Monty Ossenfort, and they probably said, listen, I'll give you the chance to admit it, but, there is going to be a penalty, and at least if you admit it, it won't look as bad for you, and that's what I believe happened. And it would be amazing if the pick that the Eagles ended up getting was that
Third
safety.
rounder, right?
No, Sidney Brown, the guy from Illinois. That's a guy. And wouldn't it be something if this guy shines? I mean, that would be just amazing if that happens. So, you know, yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't. I think the reason why it wasn't as big a story is because the draft was such a big story, and then DeAndre Swift coming.
And I think the Eagles didn't want to make a big deal about it either because it's kind of embarrassing to them too that their defensive coordinator, instead of focusing on preparing for the Super Bowl, is looking for his next job. That's kind of embarrassing to the organization too. That's why they didn't want to make a big deal about it either.
I agree.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, but let's get back to the defensive line. I mean, I personally, I think Nolan Smith's going to make an immediate impact. He is a high character guy, flies around the ball. I think he's going to be like a guy where they're going to let him go wherever he wants on the defensive line, and I can see him playing some linebacker too, even though he wasn't a linebacker at the last level. And I'll tell you, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that don't count out Derek Barnett, guys.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
that's fine.
I always look at the line, and I'm kind of surprised that it's still Kansas City as the favorite to win the next Super Bowl, and the Eagles are close second. But I thought by now, with all those draft picks, the Eagles will be at least tied with Kansas City for the, winning the next Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Because easily they could have won last one.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I think Derek Barnett's going to have a good year this year. I think he's going to contribute a lot just because they got so many revolving pieces. It's going to be easier for him to just jump in there in a rotation, make a couple impact plays, as long as he doesn't make some stupid, idiotic penalties. That's really
It's always frigging him.
It's always freaking him.
So yeah, there's famous quotes. Yeah.
Let's bounce now to safety. The Eagles lost both of their safeties last year, Marcus Epps and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Johnson had 6 interceptions, and he only did it, I think, in 12 games. But they picked up Justin Evans, Terrell Edmonds, and they drafted Sidney Brown. And if you put Reed Blankenship in there, I think it's a pretty decent safety group. What do you guys think?
Isn't Greedy Williams on the team now?
Oh, Greedy Williams is more.
Yeah.
He's a feedback, but he could play safety.
I can see them moving him in the safety role.
And they said Keely Ringo has the ability to play safety also. Greedy Williams was a first-round draft pick out of LSU. He never really panned out at Cleveland. He's a real long defensive back who was really good at LSU. He might be better than people think, and you're right. I think he might end up getting a shot at safety also. But then again, he may not make the team. I'm not so sure that Edmonds is a lock to make the team either.
I mean, we'll see how the preseason goes. That whole position group is up in the air right now.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. Let's go to the offensive line. Their line last year was Jordan Mailata, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, and Isaac Seumalo. Seumalo left as a free agent and went to the Steelers, but the Eagles drafted Tyler Steen out of Alabama, who was a tackle. But with his short arms, they think they can move him inside and compete with Cam Jurgens on the right tackle spot. They also have Sawyer Opeta that they've had for a few years, and Jack Driscoll. You guys think that's a pretty decent offensive line group?
Absolutely.
With Jeff Stoutland.
In the league.
What's this?
In the league.
Yeah, I think, and that's why, I really looking forward to Swift running behind this line, but man, I really want to see Penny.
Yeah, your boy Penny.
I really want to see him. I think he's going to be a fan favorite also. I just really like him.
Do you think the season opener is going to be Kansas City Eagles?
Oh, is that the first game?
Well, I don't know. They haven't declared yet, but
I think they're doing the schedule next week. So what's it, May 11th? They said maybe for a schedule date.
Yeah,
I could see that. I could definitely see Eagles.
Yeah,
Kansas
Thursday
City.
night.
Thursday night.
Yeah. Oh my
rematch.
God.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes will get hurt. He's going to be out for half the season.
Think of all the prime.
No, you don't want him to be hurt at the beginning of the season. You want to be hurt at the end of the season.
Well, hopefully he gets hurt for the whole season. Let's play on a good field this time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would, that would be.
I'm
that
sure
would be
Hassan
amazing.
Reddick would like to say hello.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Godfather.
Let's go to cornerbacks real quick. They didn't lose anybody. They got Bradbury and Darius Slayback, they got them back, and Avonte Maddox is still, entrenched as the slot guy. They also have Zach McPherson, Hosea Scott, Greedy Williams, Keely Ringo now. My favorite, this is going to be my lookout guy for this year. Remember this name, Josh Jobe. He may come out of nowhere and make a difference. He was a defensive back from Alabama a couple years ago. So what do you guys think of the defensive back group?
I think we're solid. I think we got a lot of solid players.
Yeah.
I like the Ringo pick. That was great.
Ringo is like one of my favorite picks of this draft.
Yeah, that was
He's
getting
got
the
great
third
stuff.
day too, right?
Yeah.
Who's
That's
that?
great
Who's
value.
that? Keely Ringo?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Well,
great value, right?
Yeah, but I got to tell you something. I really listened to Greg Cosell. Well, they had him on WIP yesterday, and they asked him about Ringo and the safety that they picked up, Sidney Brown. He said Sidney Brown's got a ways to go before he gets to be a starter. And then he said he did not like Keely Ringo's tape at all.
I
And
love,
I know that he
I
will
love
be
Keely Ringo.
I like him too.
I'm not buying that at all because that
20
guy's
years
got
old.
great size.
20 years old. There's complaints
Yeah.
about his work ethic and a little bit about his character, but he's only 20 years old. And they said he's very physical. 6'2", 205. He's a big guy. And he's the guy that had the pick that won the game where he scored the touchdown 2 years ago against Alabama in the title game a couple years ago. So, but he's a battler, so I'd like to see that. Real quick, Vahe, did you want to just touch on Hurts's contract a little bit? I don't know too much about it.
Well, it's a 5-year, and I was looking at the I mean, I don't know why they were making a big deal about the guaranteed portion of it, but it's backloaded. So by 2027, a cap hit is going to be like $70 million, and 28 is going to be another $70-80 million. So they're hoping that by then they're going to restructure his contract and then just keep stretching it. But the way they did it, at the beginning, it's low. The cap hit is small, like I don't know, $3-4 million this year, but everything is backloaded. So that's why, and I don't think he really cares as long as it's getting paid, whether it's backloaded, front loaded, what difference does it make? It's guaranteed 100.
He got what, 110 up front? Was that right?
Yeah,
100?
yep.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Somebody pays me $110
Amazing.
million. I don't care how they.
Could you imagine just waking
how
up?
they
one
write
morning?
it down, back end, front end, middle end. Who cares?
Imagine waking up. I just had 110 million deposit in my account.
Yeah, what did he make last year? $1 million?
I think 1.4 or something like that.
$4 million.
Think about that.
Double zeros.
Well, the best part of it was when they interviewed him, he said, when he had his press conference, he said, well, I was working out and then they grabbed me for a second and they told me that the contract was, what it was and it's all done. And he goes, and I went back to my workout. I like that. And, speaking of that, when Swift came into the facility yesterday.
I like his.
Go ahead.
I liked Hurts's other quote. He's like, the money's nice, but the championships are bad. Championships are better.
Yep. Yeah. And then when they said he lives at the complex, Hurts. But when Swift came in yesterday, shaking hands with a couple people, you see Hurts has his workout gear on. He's, he shook his hand and all, and they took him back. And so Hurts is just you talk about a guy with high character that hopefully can work with these other guys that they just brought in that have questionable character. That's where I think he can make a real big impact with this football team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I like I mean, he's getting a lot of money. Like, for example, Lamar was so fixated on being the highest paid,
Mhm.
and he signed like $5 million more than
And Hurts.
Hurts, right? Hurts was 175 guaranteed. He's like 180 or something. After taxes and everything, probably it's down to maybe $1.5 million or so. And in the scheme of things, if you're getting that much money, does it really matter $1 million more? Now, for us, it makes a big
Us,
difference,
yeah.
right?
Right.
But you're making $180 million, right? I mean,
Except for
it's like-
life. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you're set for life. I mean, your focus should be the game. Your focus should be to win the championship.
Yeah.
It's not just the money, and you're getting paid, whether 175 million or 180 million. Is it that much difference? I mean, why this so fixation on being the highest paid at this moment? Because tomorrow somebody else going to get paid more. That
Yeah.
part I didn't like about Lamar Jackson. He was into
I'm
the
not a-
money.
I'm not a fan of him.
No.
It was all about the money.
Yep.
Nothing else.
No, I agree 100%, but, you know, I don't know. Especially Will, the way he was blasting Hurts during the, 2021 season.
It was well
Now-
deserved.
Look at.
Isn't it
yeah,
crazy? Like
Yeah.
this time last year, we didn't know what we had.
Yeah.
It was well deserved last year for how he played the year before and how he played in that
Yeah.
Tampa playoff game. But
Yeah.
I mean,
I
he worked
I-
hard. He fixed everything that we had concerns about. He looks like a completely different and better player.
yeah.
I don't know how if you still don't like him, you're just being a hater. I mean, the
Just a
guy.
hater. That's exactly right. How can you not like?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't like him, it's.
Talk about hating. What's the latest on Carson? Is he playing for anybody or is he retired?
He
no,
hasn't
Isn't picked
signed
by
yet, right?
anybody?
I don't
He
think
hasn't signed yet, right?
He might be out of football. I don't think anyone's even gonna wanna take a flyer on him as a backup at this point. Because there's a guy that's gonna be like a distraction. To me, he'd be a distraction. If he
I
was
think
not starting.
it's gonna be like a preseason quarterback gets hurt. Let's bring in Carson Wentz, see if we can fix him. Other than that, I don't see him. I don't think he wants to be a backup anywhere. So
I don't think he wants to play football. I think he's happy. He never
he's
plays
made, he's
again.
made a lot of money. I mean, he's fine.
Yeah, and back
Yeah.
at that time when he signed, what was it, a $32 million contract per year? That was
Something
one of the
like that.
highest, the time that he signed it, so I don't know. What do you guys think of, let's go over the coaches. You think Gannon or Shane Steichen will be successful with their?
I hope Gannon's gone within 2 years. He's going to fall flat on his face.
Yeah,
I hate that guy. I hate
Yeah,
him
I'm
with
with you,
passion.
Bob.
Hey,
There's nothing good about that. And he's
I-
How can
he's
people
selfish,
think this-
self-centered, liar.
Liar.
I mean,
He's a
Isn't-
liar.
Isn't he coming back to Philly?
Yeah.
this year?
And he's running his mouth.
Man.
Like, what is he?
I am getting tickets to that game. I
Yeah,
would
like-
that.
What is he thinking? Like, he's literally talking smack, and he's coming back here. Like, just shut your
I
mouth.
wouldn't be surprised if he's in Philly. He better get protection. Otherwise, they're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
beat the shit. If somebody sees him on the street, they're gonna beat the shit out of him.
Yeah,
Have
you're
you
right.
guys- Have you guys ever heard of a coach like that gets to play in the biggest game, the Super Bowl, and just doesn't care? It's just like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this job, whatever. I don't care about this game. Are
I
you
give him-
serious? That's why you're coaching.
Yep.
That's
I
your
give him 2
legacy.
years.
Where did
2
he
years,
come from?
man.
I mean, before the Eagles, where was he?
He
He was
was
a linebackers coach for Indianapolis. I
yeah,
think.
the Colts. The Colts, yeah.
It was either the Colts or San Diego. I'm not sure, and that's
He was the DB coach with the Colts.
DB coach.
Yeah, which, yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
when we hired Sirianni, he came.
they were boys.
Viking came.
And he vouched for him.
Yeah,
I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I give him
I hate
2
that
years.
guy's with
2
a
years
passion.
tops. 2 years there, and he's gone.
well.
2 years. You're gonna give him 2 years to be out this year.
I
You know what
hope
even
that's
pisses me
better.
off even more? The fact that all the talking heads on TV, every time the name comes up, they say, "Oh, you guys don't know anything. The guy is a genius." I said,
Yeah.
"What are you watching? I mean, the guy's a liar. He doesn't have no character, no personality. Why you? I mean, look at what happened with the Super Bowl.
Watch,
Got no quarterback.
our defense will be better this year, and
Absolutely.
they'll realize that he sucks.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
Like, I don't
didn't you say
understand.
that Sean Desai kind of runs the same type of scheme that Gannon had when he was here?
The scheme is fine. It's a lot of defenses now in the NFL, they don't blitz a lot. It's not a blitzing league anymore just because you're getting destroyed through the air because everybody's passing. I
Mhm.
think the scheme is fine. It's just you gotta give different looks and you gotta know when to attack or like at different times. You can't like Gannon was just like, all right, we're just gonna stand in the same spot every single play, and I have this great defensive line. They're just gonna get to you, and that's it. But if you can show different looks, you can have a better defense with less talent.
Yep.
Yeah. And he also stole what, Nick Rallis at the linebackers coach, and he took Kaiser White too. So
That's fine.
here's a question for you.
But Bubba Baker wants out, so,
Yeah, well, he wants a lot of money though. I mean, that's money related. I mean, you know, the Eagles wouldn't touch that. Now,
Well, I'm sure you guys all saw Gannon's first interaction with Buda Baker when he got there, right?
no, I didn't see that.
Oh, I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't see that either.
Are you serious?
No, what happened?
I
What
might
did
have
he
seen
do?
it.
Hold on, I'm gonna bring it up on my phone. I'll show it on the video. You guys keep talking. I'll find it.
I
Okay.
don't think I saw it. No, I might have heard about it. I probably
Now,
forgot.
all right, while he's checking that, did it ever cross your mind that since Gannon, you know, the Cardinals admitted that they spoke to Gannon after the NFC Championship game, that possibly Indianapolis spoke to Shane Steichen after the NFL game, even though the offense looked really good. Don't you think it might be possible that?
it is, yeah,
Indianapolis
I mean,
reached
actually,
out
they
to
were
Shane
saying it is
Steichen too?
possible because usually like when the games are over, suddenly people get full-time head coaching job or something, right? So obviously there's something's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And you're right, probably the same thing happened with Steichen, but at least the offense showed up, you
Yeah,
know, in
I
Gannon's
think they all
case.
talk. The agents, are in their ear about this and that. I think, yeah.
yeah, another thing about Steichen that I'm not so sure of is that they're giving him full credit for Hurts's development. I don't know about that. I mean, I think Hurts did a lot on his own.
And
I'm
it's
not
the
so
quarter.
I think he's got his hands full with this guy Richardson that they picked up from Florida, because he's only played, I think, 12 games in college.
Yeah. And their
So there's
owner
a
is
lot
a
of work
whack.
to do with him. Where's that? You got that video going?
Hold on. Instead of doing it on my phone, Armin, I'm gonna let me share my screen.
All right, I'll do it. Share screen, multiple participants. Good.
All right, hold on. Let's see. I got the Zoom. You guys are gonna love this.
No, I didn't hear anything about it.
All right, you see my screen?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's, isn't
Yeah,
it
it's
Kyler
smarter.
Murray?
And faster.
Yeah, hold on.
With Wix, you can edit your meta tag.
41 seconds.
Isn't it Kyler Murray?
That's
Oh.
Mary.
What's up? Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Good, good. Shots, explosives, explosives you can run. Hey, Calvin, how you doing, man? Good to meet
What
you.
is that?
What is this?
Yeah.
That's Buda Baker.
Yeah.
Yo, so that's what they were talking about with the shoom. I did. Yeah, I heard of it. But I didn't say- Yeah, what is that?
I have no idea.
I heard that on the radio the one day. They kept saying, I'm like, what is that? And then now I know.
Yeah, like 4 days later, Buda Baker's asking for a trade.
Oh, what a whack.
But you
What
know,
a
it's
whack.
something. He's going around saying hi to the players. He almost looks like a deer in the headlights when he's walking around the room. He's probably thinking to himself, how did I get this job? The
Yeah.
bottom line is he's now a head coach in an NFL franchise. He's making a lot of money, could be set for life. He's got what he wants. And I don't know. But if you look at him, he's just a guy. I'll tell you what, if they have a losing record immediately, the Cardinals, the fans are going to hate them.
They have no shot. They're going to be terrible. They have no
Yeah, they
quarterback.
are. Yeah.
I hope we, I hope.
I am
they-
actually going to love this. This is like the greatest thing. I'm so happy Gannon got a head coaching job because we're just gonna see it all from the
Yeah.
side and just laugh the whole.
And then they're gonna know what we
long.
were talking about, just like Simmons. Remember, everyone's like, why can't he play in Philly? It's the Philly people. No, it's the player.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
think that if the Eagles, like top brass, is upset enough that when they play the Cardinals and if they're beating them handily, that they'll try to run up the score on
I
them?
think they're gonna smoke them.
I got
Oh,
that
yeah.
feeling that they might do that just to send.
Yeah, yeah.
They're gonna put up 60 on the Cardinals in the first half.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap.
I don't know.
man.
Wait till my prediction that week. Just
He is gonna get. He is gonna get.
Hopefully, it's a lot better than your predictions last year.
my playoff predictions were excellent though.
Can you
Yeah,
imagine?
he was on the money. He was on the money.
Yeah, he
I
was.
was saving it for the playoffs. That's all.
Well, then don't do any predictions until the playoffs this year,
Maybe.
you know? But no, I'm just curious. Is this like the most excited you would be for a camp to start for the
Oh
Eagles
yeah, yeah.
of all the years? This has to be
Since the TO, since I'm going back to since TO. This is the most
2004. That was big.
Yeah, that's the most exciting.
McNabb and TO, that was exciting. That,
Yep.
I don't know,
That's how I am now. Dead serious. I
That
thought
that year was because Tia was amazing. He was like something
he
I
else.
was
couldn't wait.
amazing in training camp too.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
first
I don't
play
know whether
preseason,
AJ
they
Brown
went
is
right down the field to him.
Yeah,
I don't know whether AJ Brown is the same caliber. I mean, Tia was one of the.
Theo was amazing. He
Yeah,
had 3
they're not the
touchdowns
same.
in the opener. He had 3 touchdowns against the
Yeah, I mean,
Giants.
he was
Yep.
amazing. That
I
guy.
had him in fantasy that year. He's a beast.
I do remember that when they had, did they still have training camp no, it was in Lehigh, when it was at Lehigh when they had the camp. And I remember they said you couldn't get in as a spectator, like you had to wait for 2 hours to get a seat. So many people couldn't get in to watch. That place
Mhm.
was constantly packed. And, you know, McNabb.
Because when Theo came here, he was already a superstar.
Yeah,
So it was a different setting, and plus he was like a big specimen anyway. I mean, he was like 6'4", 6'3". I mean, he was a big guy.
yeah, and I think the 2 years before that, they made it to the championship game and lost.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
And that
3
year,
years, 3 years, right?
yeah, they
It
were
was
like,
3 years.
yeah, they were 7-0 that year before they lost to Pittsburgh. And in that Pittsburgh game, that's when the tension started.
Yeah,
Between McNabb and Owens.
he was
So-
chasing him down the sideline, throw me the ball.
Yeah, it's a shame because they really had something special there for that
Yep.
time. But you guys see this as maybe a little bit better over the, like, might
I
top that?
just think they're set up for a good 4 or 5 year stretch right now to really try to win a championship. I feel like the team's set up well.
I don't
Yeah, to
know.
be honest with you, I mean, if you look at the NFCs, now that Rodgers went to the Jets, I mean, I still can't believe, if you look at the line, right? I still can't believe that the San Francisco, the second best in the NFC. I mean, they don't have a quarterback. They didn't have a good draft. And still going back with the last year's, record. I don't know, man. I mean, and this year, Seattle's supposed to be better, right?
Yeah.
And so they have to play Seattle twice. They have to play Cincinnati. They have to play Detroit. Detroit's going to be much better. So
Yeah, Detroit's going to be
they're not-
good.
So they're not going to have the cakewalk that they had last year. And they don't even have a quarterback. I mean, who's going to be the starting quarterback? Is it going to be Purdy? Or it's
Yeah.
gonna be the other
It sounds
guy?
like Purdy's going to be there.
Purdy right
Sounds-
now.
Yeah,
But isn't he injured? Didn't he have a Tommy Lee?
They-
They said he'll be back for the start of training camp.
yeah.
But he never had like that strong arm, right? He couldn't throw like 40, 50 yards.
No, but he was very accurate.
Yeah, he
And
made good
so-
decisions.
In
Well,
tight
I mean,
windows, yeah. Remember,
He
they had a
was
very good
smart.
offensive line.
he was just a smart man. Like he managed the game well.
Yeah,
But they lost their defensive coordinator.
Coach. Yeah.
Yes, he was.
But when
really
you
good.
need him to win you the game, He's not gonna do it.
Do you guys think that Hargrave's gonna be worth all the money he's getting out there next year?
No,
31 years old,
no, he
no.
did earn it. He earned the money, but he's not gonna be worth it.
no. Yeah, but
He
this
earned
is a
it,
league
though.
where it should be, what have you done for me lately? So, and I'll tell you, there were a lot of games in the last 2 years where he didn't show up. But he was good. He was very good, but you weren't always sure the player you were gonna get on in any particular game. Are you guys concerned at all about, what's his name, Jordan Davis?
Yeah, this
Get
is
it.
a prove me
Prove
year,
it, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, he's the guy. So, I know last year he had 2 injuries, the concussion and then the high ankle sprain. And he was out a while on both of them. He was really starting to come along, but when he had the first injury, he was a different player. So, he really needs to produce this year. And maybe having Carter next to him might be, what he really needs. And like Cox, the thing with, Fletcher Cox was when he was playing 60, 70 snaps a game, he was no good. He
Mhm.
was horrible in that Commanders game that they lost last year. So he has to be a pure rotational guy at what, 33? He'll be 33 years old
Mhm.
this
Yep.
year.
Yeah.
So, they need, I still think they need another player on the interior line. They have a lot of edge guys, but they need a guy inside.
Another linebacker.
Yeah, linebacker. Yeah, definitely a
I
linebacker
think they need
too.
another linebacker.
But Jimmy, look at it this way. He's the guy they got, that Nick Mara, he can run. And N'Kobe Dean can run. No one knows how N'Kobe Dean's going to be this year either. Both of them are undersized. So, but if that defensive line gets the push, the fast linebackers are going to be what you need. And that's why
Yeah.
I just have a funny feeling that they're going to cross-train Nolan Smith to be a sack linebacker too. I might be way off here in my thinking, but the way he plays, how violent he plays, I think that they're going to let him.
He's good in
move around.
coverage. He can cover.
Yeah, well, that's what linebackers do. He might be a lot better than the guy who was the guy that had all the sacks last year?
Edwards,
Son Reddick.
Reddick.
Yeah, I mean, Reddick couldn't cover really that much, and Reddick really didn't play any linebacker, even though he was listed as a linebacker, because they go with the 5-2 all the time. But I think the one thing I really liked about the draft is that the Eagles drafted according to their needs and their scheme. All the guys that they got are great scheme players. Carter fits their scheme. Nolan Smith fits their scheme. Sidney Brown fits the scheme. Ringo fits their scheme. Ringo's a guy that's really good in zone coverage. So, and they're probably going to play a lot of zone this year. So, it's funny. We're not even talking about the offense. I mean, could you imagine this going up and your skill players coming in are Dallas Goedert, DeAndre Swift, or Rashad Penny and Gainwell. Jalen Hurts is the quarterback. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and either Quez Watkins or Olamide Zacchaeus as the slot receiver. Could you imagine that this year?
I'd like to make a request. I think when we talk about the receivers, I would like for everybody to say Devonta Smith and AJ Brown. I think Devonta Smith should be named first for now on.
You might be right.
First, personal request.
He had over 90 catches last year, I believe. I think this is going to be his year.
Yeah.
I think he has a little more respect than the league shows him.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right, anything else before we wrap this up? Because we're not going to do another one till camp starts.
How about anyone see Michael Parsons' reaction when he found out? That was
That was
awesome.
funny.
Dude, he's like, they got what?
You know what?
Man.
I think when he becomes a free agent,
He's coming here.
he may come here. He's
Yeah,
got one year.
I'm with you 100%. Yep. He wants to be here.
I think he does.
Armin will be so happy when he comes here.
Dude, I love watching him. dude.
I gotta tell you, I didn't think he'd be the player he was. That he
He's
is.
all over the place, man. He's
He is.
awesome.
Yeah, he is. I
You
was
think
getting
Dallas
him.
will ever let him go?
He may want to
Dallas?
leave Dallas. He may leave on his own.
Yeah, he'll
You
have
know?
the ability to do that if he wants to.
Wouldn't that be
But
something?
his reaction was, he was with AJ Brown, right? He's like, man, you just got
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. So,
I'm,
all right,
I'm
let's
sure
wrap.
AJ Brown was like, "Hey man, come on, a couple years, you
Yeah,
coming
come back. You know you want to be here.
That's funny. All right, we'll wrap this up. I guess we'll see you guys again right when camp starts. You know we're gonna have one right when camp starts. I can see some camp fights going on, and they're gonna report it on some of the podcasts. But anyway, that's it. Flying high with the birds, Philadelphia Eagles talk. See ya.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Yeah.